United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump.
God says that the year 2026 marks the start of America's involvement in a series of conflicts that will be extremely ill-advised. So right there, if you're thinking critically, it means that America's going to start doing, listen carefully, America's going to start doing what it's always done. America has always been involved in international conflicts. That's her bread and butter. That's her bread and butter. Getting involved in international conflicts and hostilities is America's bread and butter. But now, when the Lord says, marks the start of, he's talking about the advent of a new time. But how can it be a new time when it's an old activity? But then he says extremely ill-advised, and then you get it. When America starting up with other people, this time it's going to go very wrong. Previously, it went very right. America came home with everybody's oil, everybody's gas, everybody's gold, everybody's Nephilim bones that she went and stole from all over the Middle East. I think it was in Afghanistan there, where those people have massive giant bones and some living giants. And I think they said they found somebody's carcass. I don't know who, but they found one of these big giants and secretly brought the bones home. And these are some of the things that were hidden in Mrs. Clinton's emails. But when he says the start of, and then he lists an old activity, like getting involved in hostilities and conflicts, but then he says extremely ill-advised. That's how you now know that, oh, she's going to do what she always does, but it's not going to work out. And these are 2021, 2020 prophecies that America is going to go all around the world in what I call her stompy boots, stomping, causing problems. But this time, I said, the repercussions of those activities will follow her home. Not only in the form of very loud anti-American sentiment. The world is not even talking about us as badly as they will do. Right now, the world is simply mocking us, memeing us, and trolling us, but it's going to turn vitriolic when it comes to conflicts. I think the president of Venezuela recently signed something with Russia, because what that man is not going to do is end up another Iraq. He's been making a lot of speeches, and as I watched this man make speeches in his own language, what it looked like to me is exactly what I was talking about on one of the ICE prophecies, which is when the bullies roll up on you, when the cops roll up on you and they want to start their thing with you. What did I say? I said that minorities who fear for their lives always get loud. White people will watch the video and say, why is he so agitated? Why doesn't he just comply with the officer? Why doesn't he just do as told? Because first of all, he's a citizen just like you. He shouldn't have to get profiled. He shouldn't have to be asked for his ID unless they can articulate to him what crime he has caused. If you have not done any crime, if they don't have any probable cause, you don't have to answer their questions. As a citizen, you do not have to produce ID, because this is not Nazi Germany, even for black people. So if you've never had the frustration of having your day interrupted by someone telling you you're standing on the sidewalk, where's the crime of standing on the sidewalk? You're not supposed to impede the roadway. That's an obstruction. The sidewalk was literally created for us to stand on. So when a man comes and tells you, oh, you're standing on the sidewalk, I've seen you, I received the call that you're standing on the sidewalk here. And then later it turns out that you're standing on the sidewalk outside your house. And the reason someone received a call is simply because the neighborhood is too nice for a human like you to be there. Then why don't you think people will get aggressive and loud? Don't you know that's called an annoyance? Don't you know it's annoying to go through those things on a daily basis? This man is getting very loud in Venezuela, and I've been watching the progression, meeting after meeting, conference after conference. Everywhere he goes, he talks about America. Everywhere he goes, he talks about the fact that they have some of the largest oil and natural gas reserves in the world, and he's been saying it loudly. And I said, this man is making it known that he's not going to be another Saddam. He's making it known that he's not feeling suicidal. He's making it known that even if his country has been in an economic crisis, he's not a dictator so that he should be sniped by a Marine's bullet one day in some kind of covert op. That's why he's doing it. And now they've gone and signed something really big. And what he's doing is he's aligning himself with the power that will stand up for him if America keeps going over there and shooting people and then claiming that they're drug runners. You're all the way up here. How do you know who's a drug runner down there? Ill-advised conflicts means that you will get yourself involved in things that when the dust settles and we look at it, you will find yourself staring directly into the eyes of Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. That's what it means. Everywhere you go and you try to start the rough bully stuff, those countries will start to say, and we're happy to announce, India's doing it. India's not even a country that anyone can bully. India is a power ally. India is full of rich resources that everybody else would want. But India has taken a hard pivot towards China and Russia. India was in China for the Victory Day parade. Mr. Modi was there. Prime Minister Modi was there, along with Kim Jong-un, along with Putin, along with many other nations that were invited there. You know who wasn't there? A single NATO power. That's who wasn't there looking at those missiles, those bombers, and those Chinese people that march like AI CGI toys of perfection. Ill-advised means don't do it. It's not worth it. But then because you're so used to do it, because it's programmed into you, and also because you are cursed. At this point, America is cursed with her own character, and she's going to carry on doing what she's used to, even if the odds don't favor her. And that's what God is talking about, that we're going to see next year. An actual real war breaking out. Actual engagement. That means the war machine mobilizing. And we've already seen it, but it's meant here for domestic terror. Now it's going to be engaged internationally as well. Ill-advised, extremely ill-advised. Please forgive me. And he says it's going to be the start of moves and acts on the part of the United States that will lead her further away from domestic peace than she's ever been before.
Esa mierda, yo. Huevo. Esa mierda, marico. Moscaí. Mira esa mierda, explotaron allá toda esa mierda, porque aquí no está explotando. Marico, se prendió el peo en esa mierda, ¿oyó? Huevo.
America doesn't mind destroying the Venezuelan economy, which they're already busy with right now, simply because the people have found oil. You can't be this close to the United States and find oil and actually make it public and think that you're going to have peace. That's a pipe dream. This is an oil-stealing nation. This is the nation that was born with a straw in her mouth to suck up the oil on earth to fund what she wants. It doesn't matter that America doesn't have all the oil that she needs, or that she doesn't actually want to destroy her topography by fracking or digging, and oil is available anywhere else. She'll just kill everybody like she did in Iraq and then set up an eternal pipeline by claiming that she's leaving a peacekeeping force, which is just BlackRock in a dress. This is what happens here. But the problem is that previous generations, as you see them presented in the dream, they'll listen to cries for help from the little book of lies. And then they will say, I need to call my senator. I need to call my congressman. I need to call my alderman. I need to call the mayor. I need to call someone, because there's a disease that is time-honored in America, and that disease is known as moral superiority. Here in America, we love the idea that we are so moral, so good, so bound to ideals of freedom and liberty for all, and yet this is the nation whose initial constitution had to be amended because she was saying that black people were only 3 parts of a whole person, right? So you see a whole person in front of you, like myself, but then you have to slice off 2 pieces of the salami so that you can stand tall and not feel threatened by myself also being afforded whole personhood. So much for moral superiority, because you can't be a bigot and also feel morally superior. For some reason, those 2 concepts, as the Greeks would look at them, they cancel each other out. So you need to pick one and run with it. But in America, they're seamlessly blended. This is a nation that went to church every Sunday and then lynched people from Monday to Saturday. The lynchers sitting right up front, the sheriff included, sheets off, reading from hymnals or singing from hymnals and reading from the good book. Then Monday to Saturday, Hunger Games, but morally superior in their minds.
A president, now a prisoner. Nicolas Maduro, handcuffed in blackout goggles and protective headphones, robbed of his country and his senses.
The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs.
Hours later, he and wife Celia Flores arrived in New York, escorted off the plane by dozens of federal agents. A change of outfit and a change of scenery. Maduro's first steps on American soil, surrounded but appearing relatively calm. The DEA showing off their catch, 2 thumbs up in handcuffs. A defiant pose from the embattled Venezuelan leader. From there, he was taken to the Drug Enforcement Administration's offices, marched in front of the cameras for a perp walk.
Good night. Happy New Year.
And officially charged. Then transported by synchronised helicopters across the Empire State. The Statue of Liberty and New York's sparkling skyline, the last thing they laid eyes on, before arriving to a sea of officers surrounding the Metropolitan Detention Centre in Brooklyn that has housed Sean Diddy Combs and alleged United Healthcare assassin Luigi Mangione. Taken from his slumber, the extraordinary mission to capture and remove him was conducted under the cloak of darkness.
This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours.
It was months in the planning, more than 150 aircraft involved, including F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, E-18s, E-2s and B-1 bombers.
Employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area.
A large-scale strike across Venezuela's capital.
For a single purpose, to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas.
US helicopters arriving at Maduro's compound at 2:01 a.m. Delta Force soldiers finding the Venezuelan leader sleeping alongside his wife.
It's one of the most stunning, effective and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
Donald Trump was locked and loaded in a makeshift situation room at Mar-a-Lago, flanked by his secretaries of state and defense.
What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry and glory of the American warrior.
Venezuela's vice president is demanding his release.
La inmediata liberación.
There is only one president in this country, Nicolas Maduro, and declared the South American country will never be a US colony. Maduro was an illegitimate ruler. He did not win the last election. Venezuela's Nobel Peace Prize winning opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has called for her candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, to now be recognised. Trump says the opposition doesn't have the respect of the country to govern.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
Near the presidential palace in the capital, Maduro's supporters burned the American flag and called for his return. But the mood in Caracas was mostly muted, many queuing for groceries, a small act of control in the midst of uncertainty. What will happen tomorrow? What will happen in the next hour, says this resident. But there was elation in Florida, Spain, Chile, and at the Colombian border from Venezuelans who had already left.
Colombia is now mobilising its forces in an attempt to fortify the region and the border with Venezuela. Already, close to 8 million Venezuelans have fled the Maduro regime, and tonight, with real concerns about the stability of this region, the Colombian government is now bracing to bear the brunt of further waves.
Tonight, Maduro and his wife have been charged with conspiracy to commit narco-terrorism, the importation of cocaine and weapons charges.
Don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well.
The message from the White House is clear. F-A-F-O.
He effed around and he found out.
In Colombia, Lauren Tomazi, 9 News.